Good day, mate. Thank you to all my Australian listeners. I appreciate you listening and mainly to my family that's in Australia. Thank you again for all listening. And this is Henry, and welcome to Ticket to Life. We have had some crazy things going on in our life, and guess what? You're about to hear about it. Um, but some really great and exciting news for Texas is the baseball team, Texas Rangers, are going to the World Series. We are so stinking excited. The games were so exciting. They played the Astros, the Houston Astros, and they are real big rivals, and we won. It was a great game. Yes, I love football, baseball. I love just about, I'm not a big basketball fan. I'll watch it, but it's so crazy that I watch football and it's go, 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 go. Then you watch baseball. A lot of people find baseball boring. They say it's too slow, but that's the excitement of it. Let's see what happens. But we are excited. Go Texas. We're still waiting to see who we're going to the World Series to. So I'm sure you will be listening to me next week to find out who we are going against. And then hopefully it'll all be over and we'll have that title of World Series. But who knows? Still loving fantasy football too. Doing horrible, but still having fun with it. So I forgot something really major for the month of October other than breast cancer awareness, but I forgot to wish happy birthdays. I try to wish happy birthdays to everyone because birthdays are very important. So I'd like to these have already passed. My beautiful daughter just had her birthday, and my beautiful granddaughter just had her birthday, and my beautiful niece just had her birthday. And now we have a grandson, and next year he will be celebrating his birthday in October. And yes, I just have a lot of beautiful people in my life, and I'm so thankful and feel so blessed to that. So happy birthday to anyone and everyone who has a birthday in October. So birthdays are really important. One of the most important days of your life. Why? Because you were born on that day. You have graced us with your being here on earth. My aunt once told me that the two most important days in your life are the day you were born, your birthday, and the day you die. What? But it is true. Face it, everyone has this in common. We are all alive, and we're all going to die. Not trying to sound too morbid, but it is true. We all have one thing in common. We all do. So it doesn't matter who you are. You could be filthy rich, or you could be filthy poor. You could be highly educated or non-educated. You could be gorgeous, handsome, or not so gorgeous and not so handsome. But we all have one thing, two things in common: being born and our day of death. I know, that does sound kind of morbid, doesn't it? So anyway, let's finish. That's enough about death. The greatness is a birthday. It is about having a baby. So many are excited about giving birth, and some are not too excited. The surprise pregnancy, or shall I say the unexpected pregnancy, is usually the shocker. We had some friends that this was when we were younger. Oh, yes, and last week I did mention, I talked about the podcast, and I mentioned about I would be talking about being pregnant. I didn't mean that I was pregnant because someone interpreted that and they said, I had to hear it again. And then I thought, okay, I'm 65. I'm not pregnant. But anyway, now you need to go and listen to last week's podcast. But anyway, we did have some friends in our 30s, and they just knew it was time to start a family, or that's what they wanted to do. So they thought, the wife had not been on any type of birth control. And she goes, I know it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. And then bam, a baby. She was pregnant. So when unfortunately, there's those different types of people who just can't wait to get pregnant. And they try and they try and they try and go through vitro fertilization, adoption, uh, surrogacy, intrauterine um, insemination. That's collecting sperm in case someone didn't know what that was. But anyway, there is just different types of ways that people decide that if unfortunately not everyone is bam, you're pregnant. But anyway, these are, I'm sure I'll just go over them. And now don't forget, I'm not a medical doctor. Just Henry. These are what I know. This is it may be wrong what I know. Who knows? But vitro is harvesting the egg cell and sperm, or when it's necessary, I guess both or one or the other. I believe it's the egg cell, but again, I'm not sure. Intrauterine insemination is collecting sperm and inserting the sperm directly into the uterine cavity. So I know this is Bio 101, just in case you were wondering any of those. You can look them up yourself. And if I'm wrong on any of them, just send me an email at tickettolife022@gmail and correct me, and I'll say, guess what? I was wrong, because I'm wrong all the time about stuff. And I can admit it. Anyway, being pregnant for me it took 6 months for my husband and I. And we were just, I had been on birth control. I'm sure members of the Catholic Church are listening to this, but I'm not the first, not going to be the last. But anyway, so, and it took 6 months for both times, exactly, which was crazy. I guess all that needed to get out of my system. But it was great. I loved being pregnant. That was one of my main goals in life. I didn't want to go into civil engineering or anything. I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be a mom. I can tell you since I can remember in high school. I didn't want to be a teen mom, so I wasn't that by the grace of God. But I just wanted to be a mom. That was my goal. I love being a mom, even to my adult children and now even to my grandchildren. But that was my thing. And again, a lot of people probably think I'm crazy, but I loved being pregnant. I loved every minute of it. The worst thing I did have was just being tired, and I would get headaches. But guess what? I survived. Unfortunately for a lot of them, a lot of pregnant women, they get nauseous. They get in the morning, in the evening, they're sick. They're miserable, and that's for 9 months. Some of them are just literally for 9 months. Like my daughter-in-law, the first trimester, she was nauseous. The second trimester, she was okay. But then third trimester, ta-da, she started feeling nauseous again and things like that. And my daughter, I remember smells would make her nauseous. But she had a really good pregnancy too. My daughter did. But like daughter like mother, or mother like daughter. No, I guess it's the other way around. But anyway, but the light at the end of the tunnel was you get a beautiful baby. You get a sweet, sweet baby, and all that yuckiness is gone, and you literally forget. Yeah, you'll remember, because you're going to be your war story about being pregnant. But having that healthy baby, and unfortunately, sometimes they're not so healthy. But if you take really good care of yourself and go to your doctor, make sure to go to your OBGYN and let them take care of you, tell you what you need to do. You just need to follow through. And hopefully your baby will be healthy and happy. But sometimes they're not so happy. You need to remember this little one has been inside you where it's nice and toasty and warm and being fed. But now this little bundle starts to cry because their diaper changed. Because would you like to be in wet panties or a wet diaper with poo? No. When you're hungry, wouldn't you like to cry sometimes? What do they say? Hangry? Because I know a lot of people that get hangry. Or wouldn't you rather just be held? Held all the time, and someone feed you, somebody change you. I mean, that's the best. And honestly, those 2.5 to 3 hour feedings, that's nothing. Prepare yourself for that first few months. That's nothing. Because I really believe parenthood is one of the hardest things you will ever do in life, but it is so worth it to have that connection with another human being that you and your beloved made. I know that sounds kind of creepy to some, but it is. It's awesome. It's awesome that we have the ability to make a small little human who develops and grows into a child, a teenager, an adult, a young adult, and then an adult. It's just great. I think it's amazing that we are capable of doing this. But the one thing I do want to tell new moms and new dads is trust your instinct. I know you're going to hear so much from your parents and friends, do this, do that, do this, because I've caught myself and I have to bite my tongue. I'm trying to keep it to myself unless they ask, but it is hard not to say, oh, that's not what I did. This is what worked for me, because all babies, like all adults, are their own person, little person. But I don't really believe that holding that baby, and I'm sure a lot of people will roll their eyes and say, well, what is she talking about? But I don't believe, this is my opinion, that you can hold them too much. I just really can't believe that you can hold a baby too much. And some people will say, I held them and I put them down in the crib and they just started screaming. Well, yeah, you need to let them cry a little, not too long. But it's so important for you to just love that baby, because they're not little infants very long. I mean, my grandson is almost out of newborns and he's only going to be 3 weeks old next week. So, or is he already 3 weeks? I don't know. But I mean, it's like, oh, well, these did not last long. So, the other thing is, at one point, babies don't want you to hold them. They start pushing away from you. So enjoy every minute that you can hold your baby, if possible. And hope, again, find good quality childcare if you go back to work. If you stay at home, I am telling you, that's going to be a full-time job, being at home without pay, without benefits, without anything other than love from that baby. So, okay, let's go back to pregnancy. Things some women need to know for any reason, like literally any reason. You don't feel right. And don't ask a friend, don't ask your mom, don't ask an aunt. If you don't feel right, like your heart rate's going up, or there's swelling or cramps or bleeding, or any kind of dizziness, or any kind of change in your vision, chest pain, anything, you know your body. And you know that's not right. You need to call your doctor immediately, or you need to call 911, because something could possibly be wrong. And now it comes to what I'm getting around to. Yes, I have notes. That's what's my rattling. I want to make sure I get as much as this possible in, because it's so important. I don't know how many people have ever heard of preeclampsia. I've heard of it, but didn't know a lot about it until my daughter-in-law just went through it. And preeclampsia, well, let me tell you, if you know who Kim Kardashian is, former First Lady Laura Bush, Mariah Carey, they all had preeclampsia. How do I know this? Google it. And preeclampsia, it's also known as toxemia of pregnancy. And it's a persistent thing of high blood pressure that develops during pregnancy, and believe it or not, even postpartum preeclampsia. Because my daughter-in-law went home, everybody's happy, baby's here, and within 24 hours, she was back in the hospital. And she knows her body. She's very healthy. She's a soccer player, and she is just very, very healthy. And she has a low blood pulse. It's just low because she's healthy. Even during pregnancy, I think she played soccer until, I don't know. I just know she was pregnant and playing. But anyway, so no, not 6 months pregnant or 8 months. I need to backtrack on this. It was early in the pregnancy that she was still playing. But my daughter-in-law knows her body, and she knew that something was wrong. She was already home. My son calls us like at 2 a.m. and says, can you please come over and watch the baby? And we, of course, pack the car. We go in for 3 days. we were new parents again. No, my husband and I, he is 69, I'm 65. So it was like, I felt like it was an eye opener for us to remember. And for my husband, he had to go back to work immediately. He didn't get 6 weeks off, he didn't have time off. And he got to experience a lot of this that he wasn't able to with our kids. So it was, but we were working like a fine old machine. We would get up, I would change that baby. He would get the formula, or if she was nursing whatever breast milk we had. And we just worked like clockwork. And so luckily our grandson was sleeping every 2.5 hours to 3 hours. But when you're used to sleeping at least 6 to 7 hours a night without interruptions, that made a big difference. But it just makes you appreciate the hard work a parent goes through. But anyway, back to I'm sorry, I always get sidetracked, me. So she realized her heart was like beating like crazy. So then they went back to the hospital. They kept her in the hospital and they said, oh, it's preeclampsia. So they gave her, I want to say magnesium for 24 hours, and then it kind of all leveled off and stuff. So they came home again, and she was home for maybe 2 days, day and a half, and she went back to the hospital again. So they kept her for about 4 days. So we were actually our grandson's, probably confused him. He probably wanted back in the womb when he saw, wait, these people are kind of old taking care of me. But anyway, so we took care of him and we loved it, and we would do it again, but only because they're on a trip or something wonderful like that. But anyway, you need to know, ladies, if you are pregnant and feeling anything, this is a very serious thing. You just don't hear about it. I'd heard about it, but did not know what it was. So it's high blood pressure that develops during pregnancy, postpartum, preeclampsia. You get high levels of protein in your urine, and it can cause trouble with your kidneys or your liver, fluid in your lungs. Your brain starts being fuzzy. Trouble, and luckily we didn't get to this part, but seizures, and it can affect your vision. So it is very, very important. If you have anything like this, you need to contact your doctor. Find more information on it. Be prepared. You may not even have it. I didn't have it. My daughter didn't have it. Tons of women don't have it. But it does affect, I did read that it does affect young women, young first-time moms. It will affect them, and it will affect women in older than 35. And my daughter-in-law is over 35, and my son, of course, he's over 35. So, I don't know if that had something to do with it or not, but it can affect a lot of problems, and then it cannot. So it's very important to know about certain things. You hear about women, their feet swelling. My daughter-in-law had her little ankles were all swollen, and she's all better by the grace of God now. She's at home with our sweet grandson, and they are out and about and going out to lunch, and before my son has to go back to work and she has to go back to work. So it's just a very important thing that if you have any of these symptoms like shortness of breath, she had that, anxiety, headache, stomach, and when you're nursing, of course, you get a little anxious. It can go smooth, which it was going pretty smooth with her. But I believe that some women get a little anxiety when nursing because it's not working immediately. So being patient and it will work. And that didn't help any, but I don't know if she was anxious about it because she seemed like an old pro, or she seemed like an old pro. So just letting you know how important that is. Now, this is the crazy thing. How do you prevent it? Okay, are you ready for this one? Because when I read this, I'm like, really? Well, I don't even know. I don't know. Again, I'm going to tell you how you can prevent it. But remember, this is what I've just gotten off good old internet, So with semen, not semen in the ocean, but semen. potentially regular sex with a long-term male partner can play a role in preventing preeclampsia. So who would have thought that? Because after having a baby, I'm not sure I'm thinking about having sex. But anyway, I found that very interesting. They said research has found that the seminal fluid from a recurring male partner might play a crucial role in building up immunological tolerance in a woman to carry a healthy pregnancy. So anyway, there you have it, folks. Sex always plays a big part in making things feel better. Well, sex makes everyone feel better, right? But it's very important to know that. I do have two stories about, there's my big story about preeclampsia, but there are other things, you need to be aware of. Talk to your doctor. You don't have a doctor? Find one. But the other thing is, I spoke with someone and he said, I don't know how women can do this because me being a man, there is no way I could ever have been pregnant and endured the pain of childbirth and then raising a child. There's just no way. Women are amazing. Now, this was given, this little speech that I heard was given by a dad. His daughter she had a healthy pregnancy and everything went well. But I thought that was such a great observation from an older man, seeing what his daughter, not his wife, but what his daughter was going through. Again, things are different, and I'm so thankful for women. I'm so thankful for men, too. I'm thankful for both. I'm really thankful for happy, healthy babies. And I pray that if you're trying to have a baby, that it happens sooner than later. And I hope that you enjoy being a parent. Now, I'm sure some of you have heard about postpartum depression. It can be very, very bad. If you start having any negative thoughts or just feeling depressed, call your doctor. Tell a friend, seek some help, because postpartum is bad. Your hormones, everything's out of whack after pregnancy, but you will get back to where you need to be. But please, please find out this information. Find out as much as you possibly can about what could and could not occur during childbirth. Well, during pregnancy, childbirth, and after. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask someone with knowledge. If someone gives you their opinion, go ahead and listen to it, but know for fact who you can talk to with knowledge of what you're asking, if it's your health or just a simple baby question like, am I putting the diaper on right? Don't hesitate to ask questions to anyone, but most importantly, your doctor. Make sure you're getting information that's reputable information. Don't just go on Dr. Google it and look, because that'll freak you out when you start reading stuff off the internet. So until next week, I hope you have the next best 24 hours until I talk to you then. Find your blessings, be good, go do something fun for yourself.